If you still think the Bible is a book of history, they got you. Adam was never a man. The ark was never a boat. Revelation was never about the end of the world, because the Bible was never meant to be read with your eyes. It was meant to be decoded with your soul. This is not religion. This is the sacred code buried beneath dogma, and it's waking up in you. By the end of this video, you'll see why nothing in the Bible was ever meant to be taken literally, and why everything in it is actually about you. You were taught the Bible begins with a garden, but the real Eden isn't on a map. It's in your nervous system. The ancient mystics saw the body as a living temple, and the spinal column, the tree of life, as the center of that temple. Adam is not the first man. He's the first identity, the I that steps out of unity and forgets where it came from. Eve is the birthing of duality, the emergence of desire, and the serpent, that's your spine, the sacred current, coiled like lightning, sleeping until you awaken it. They told you the serpent was evil, but the ancients knew. The serpent is not the tempter of doom, but the awakener of truth, not the enemy of God, but the revealer of the divine within, not a symbol of sin, but the spiral of wisdom, coiled at the base of your own spine, waiting to rise. The serpent brings gnosis, not blind belief handed down from pulpits, but direct, cellular, soul-wired knowing, the kind that no priest can grant and no book can replace. When Eve takes the fruit, it's not rebellion, it's revelation, not a fall from grace, but a step into sacred sovereignty. It's not the beginning of shame. It's the first spark of selfhood, of will, of inner fire. Because until you know choice, you do not yet know yourself. And without the serpent, humanity would still be asleep in Eden, obedient, innocent, and unconscious. But once you awaken the garden, something begins to shake. Emotion rises, shadows flood, and unless you build a vessel inside yourself, you won't survive the storm that comes next. You were told Noah built a boat, but what if the ark was never made of wood? What if the ark is awareness, a vessel of consciousness built not with hammers but with presence? What if the flood isn't water at all, but a deluge of emotion, of memory, of unprocessed pain rising from the depths when the soul begins to stir? And what if this story, this so-called ancient history, is not a tale of the past, but a map for surviving your own awakening? Because in every true spiritual journey, there comes a flood, a moment when the inner dams break, when grief you buried years ago comes rushing in, when fears you thought you'd mastered return in waves, when the tides of transformation threaten to tear apart everything you thought you were. And unless you've built something sacred inside you, you drown. Unless you've built your ark, your stillness, your surrender, your deep inner knowing, you are swept away in the storm. But if you have, then the flood doesn't end you. It lifts you. It carries you to a new world, not back to Eden, but forward into the unknown land where something holy begins again. The ark is your sacred vessel, not built of timber, but of stillness. It is the inner temple you construct before the storm ever comes, a sanctuary of breath, trust, and presence, floating above the floods of fear. This is not just about Noah the man. Noah is a code, a name for the part of you that listens before the thunder, that prepares, not in panic, but in peace, that hears the whisper of truth while the world chases noise. Noah is the one inside you who obeys the inner voice, not out of fear of punishment, but from alignment with a deeper order. The one who knows, storms will come, waters will rise, but if the sacred is built within, you will not drown. And the animals? They are not just passengers. They are your instincts, 2 by 2, masculine and feminine, intellect and intuition, survival and surrender, logic and longing. Every part of your inner nature, paired, honored, and brought aboard, not to be exiled, but to be integrated. Because wholeness isn't about silencing parts of yourself. It's about bringing them all into right relation. The ark is your unity, the flood is your initiation, and the rainbow? That's not a promise from the sky. It's the radiance that appears after your inner storm has passed. When you realize the divine never abandoned you, it was waiting for you, inside the vessel you dared to build. This was never about saving animals. It's about saving your inner ecosystem before it's lost to the flood of unconsciousness. The flood is overwhelm, distraction, emotional chaos. And the animals? They're your instincts, your gifts, your archetypes, meant to be carried, not abandoned. The ark is awareness, built in silence before the sky breaks. Because once the storm comes, it's too late to remember who you are. Pause here. Breathe into your belly. Picture a glowing chamber forming just behind your heart, a sanctuary where nothing can shake you. This is your ark, your place of peace above the storm. Anchor to it now, so you don't forget when the waters rise. The algorithm buries videos like this video now, not for us, but to push it past the gatekeepers, so it can reach the ones who are ready to remember, the ones still waiting for a sign. But building this ark of inner stillness is only for survival. It prepares you for the real work, leaving the world that caused the flood in the first place. It prepares you for the Exodus. You were taught Moses freed the Israelites from Pharaoh. But what if Pharaoh is not a man, but your mental programming? What if Egypt in the scriptures was never about geography, but about the mindset that keeps you enslaved? Exodus doesn't mean escape, it means emergence, not from a place, but from an identity. Pharaoh is not just a king. Pharaoh is your inner tyrant, the voice that clings to control, to comfort, even when comfort becomes a cage. The part of you that would rather stay safe than be free. And Moses? Moses is not just a prophet from a book. Moses is the spark of awakening within you, the sacred no that rises when the soul can't stay in illusion any longer. The one who hears the whisper, there is more than this, leave. And when the Red Sea parts, it's not magic. It's what happens when fear and faith finally separate. When you stop letting them speak in the same voice, and you walk forward, not because the path is certain, but because staying stuck is no longer an option. But what lies beyond isn't comfort. It's the desert. The journey through the desert is the process of unlearning, of shedding the slave identity. This is where you meet the teacher who speaks not to the crowd, but directly to the soul. Why do you speak in parables? They asked him. And he answered, to you it has been given to know the mysteries, but to them I speak in symbols. Why? Because truth can't be given, it must be remembered. The parables were never just lessons. They are codes, each one a vibrational key, designed to unlock something sleeping within you. The Good Samaritan, not a moral tale, but a call to dissolve the illusion of separation, to see the divine in the stranger and in yourself. The Prodigal Son, not just forgiveness, but the return to wholeness after wandering through fragmentation. The Pearl of Great Price, that's your soul, buried beneath roles, achievements, and the need to be enough. Jesus wasn't moralizing. He was reactivating memory. Not through commandments, but through metaphors that bypass the mind and awaken the heart. You are the parable. You are not just the listener anymore. You are the story being told. The sheep that wandered and was found. The coin that was lost and remembered. The light hidden under a bushel. Until now. Because this isn't about ancient tales. It's about you. And the moment you realize, you've been the parable all along. But what about the final book? The one that terrifies, yet calls, Revelation. What if it's not about destruction, but disclosure? Not the end of the world, but the end of illusion. Not punishment from above, but prophecy unfolding within. Because apocalypse doesn't mean chaos. It means unveiling. And what's being unveiled is you. They said it was prophecy. They said it was the end of the world. But the word apocalypse means something different. It means to unveil. Revelation isn't about the collapse of creation. It's about the collapse of illusion, not the world burning, but the false self dissolving. The beast, it's not a monster out there. It's ego, unexamined. The part of you that hungers for control yet forgets its own soul. Babylon? It's not a city. It's the addiction to surface, the empire of distraction, where truth is traded for comfort, and the sacred becomes entertainment. And the trumpets? They're not warnings of wrath, they're awakenings. echoes that shatter illusion and call the sleeping self to rise. The seven seals, they are not events in time. They are layers of forgetting, veils over the inner temple, peeled back one by one, until the book of you is opened and read. The New Jerusalem, it's not a city in the clouds, it's you, reborn. A soul finally remembered, a body filled with light, not escaping earth, but illuminating it. It's the inner temple restored, the divine and human reunited. Heaven didn't vanish, it was hidden, waiting to be seen again through awakened eyes. Pause. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth. That is not flesh, that is fire. That is the Christ light returning, not from above, but from within. The apocalypse isn't coming. It's already begun. In you. This isn't the first time you've heard this. You were told to forget, so that this moment would hit like lightning. And now, here you are. Not reading Revelation, becoming it. You've seen now that these stories were never just about history. They were always about you, your descent, your rising, your remembering. Every garden, every flood, every parting sea, every burning bush, every veil torn. It was all written into your bones, etched into the map of your becoming. You were never meant to just read the Bible. You were meant to awaken through it. The serpent was not your enemy. It was your questioning. The ark was not your escape. It was your inner stillness. The sea didn't just part for Moses. It parts for you. Every time you choose faith over fear, truth over comfort, and walk forward, trembling but free, you are not just a reader of sacred text. You are the sacred text, still unfolding, still revealing. The gospel is not a story that ended. It is a frequency still being broadcast, through your breath, through your becoming. So what now? You build your ark, moment by moment. You listen for the burning bush, in quiet places. You part the sea, every time you choose love, over numbness. You carry the cross, not as burden, but as awakening. You roll away the stone, every time you rise from something that tried to bury you. This was never just myth, it was method, a blueprint for becoming. You are the garden, where the divine still walks. You are the temple, where heaven meets earth. You are the ark, carrying sacred memory through the flood. You are the Christ, hidden in plain sight, rising in time. You are the voice in the wilderness, and the one who finally hears it. You are the lost sheep, the prodigal child, the pearl buried in the field. You are all of it, made new. The old world may try to keep you asleep, but the codes have already been planted. The word is already within you. The scroll is already open. The seals are breaking, and the light that once only visited temples now lives inside you. It moves with your breath. This isn't the end of the story. This is the return, not to the past, but to the truth that was always here. The path continues, and this time, you walk it with your eyes open. This was not a video. It was an activation. If something stirred in you, don't let it fade. Seal the work with 3 sacred acts. First, tap like as a declaration that this truth is alive in you now. Second, comment below. The word is within me. Let it echo. Let it anchor. Third, subscribe, not just to a channel, but to the flame this community protects. The sacred signal must travel. Share this scroll with those whom you think are ready to remember.